What is going on, guys? Chris here. Just a quick announcement before this video begins. We're actually trying something a little different. I've gone on Skype with my friends IDK Cuber and UK Cubing, and we decided to try out kind of like a podcast kind of series. So any feedback that you guys have on this video would be greatly appreciated. I really hope you do enjoy it. So yeah, let's just get straight to it. Alright, what is going on, guys? Chris or Haribo41296 here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to be doing a sort of podcast where we talk all about cubing, and joining me today is IDK Cuber and UK Cubing. So Lewis, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm IDK Cuber. If you don't recognise me, you can either go to my channel on YouTube, or you can see Chris's recent 20,000 subscriber contest winner, because I actually won that and that was cool.
Hi, I'm UK Cubing. I have my own YouTube channel. If you don't recognise me, you can go check that out. And I'm actually doing a giveaway at the moment, so if you're interested in that, go check that out. Chris, you could leave a link to that, couldn't you?
Yeah, I'll do that, yeah. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on in the cubing community, and the first thing, which is kind of it was kind of a common problem, but Gans has decided to release the 356 Air Grandmaster Edition, which is basically an updated version of the 356 Air, which has only just been released a few weeks ago. So yeah, what do you guys think about this?
Well, it's yeah, I personally believe that I don't really like what Gans are doing. As we all know, Gans make amazing 3x3s, they do amazing products. However, it seems to me recently that they've been trying to force their newer products down people's throats by spamming out the slightly upgraded version of a previous 3x3. So people who paid the $20 or wherever you are for the original Gans 356 Masters or whatever, you have to now spend even more money just to get some extra springs, and I'm not sure whether or not you can buy them separately, but right now I don't really like what they're doing. Yeah,
like me and Chris were talking about this last night, and it was like, how long has it been? Only like 3 weeks, I think you said, since they brought out the actual like Air, and now they're coming out with this new one that's meant to have new plastic and new springs, and who knows, it could make a massive difference. But like me and like a lot of cubers out there, they don't change the springs. If they don't like the cube as it is, they'll just pick a different cube. So it's a bit like of a money-making scheme as it is.
But you have to remember, they are a business, so what they're doing is they're just trying to squeeze as much money as they can out of people for one specific product by slowly releasing almost this extra content, but you can't buy it separately. You have to buy an entirely new cube.
And we also have to say, like this cube might be a lot better than what we think it might be. Like, just because we think they're just putting like Gans Air Grandmaster Edition on there because we already know like that the Air is a brilliant cube, and that they're just using that name to now get people to buy this cube. But it could be a lot better than what we're like saying. It just doesn't seem like it will be.
It's like the recent Moyu release, well, not recent anymore, but the Weilong GTS is nothing like the Weilong. They're just using that name because it's such a popular and famous and loved name. So if Gans could be doing something completely innovative and different that they'd never done before, but we just wouldn't know until, obviously we can get our hands on it, but until it's just pure speculation.
I mean, we keep speaking. Chris, what do you think about this?
Thanks, guys. Well, personally, like I've said in my videos on the Air, I think it's a really, really great 3x3, and the thing that it does that other 3x3s don't do is the introduction of these new nuts, the elasticity system, which allows you to kind of get different turning styles out of the one 3x3. Now, with Moyu products, for example, you have the GTS, which is a really loud and clicky cube that's really fast, but they have a whole different range of 3x3s, which all seem to have different feelings and different speeds. So obviously they're going to sell a bigger variety of 3x3s than Gans are, because people are going to be more inclined to go for the one cube and experiment with the nuts. So I guess to a certain extent I can understand why they'd want to broaden the horizon a little bit, but at the same time it's only been 3 weeks and they're already kind of creating a version 2, which I think is a little bit ridiculous, to be honest. But that's been happening for a very long time. I mean, when I stopped cubing in 2013, we had the Dian 3x3s, and that was kind of all that there was. But now you look in 2016, and there's an immeasurable number of different speed cubes on the market, most of which feel similar to a different kind of cube. So it's kind of hard to get a balance between, companies just releasing cubes for the sake of it and actually creating new cubes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I've just looked now on the website. Well, I've just looked on a cube store, and I've just typed in Gans to see how many products, and all of these are 3x3s and have been released in quite a short space of time. There's 13 different products, and they also sell a lube now. But it's getting a bit ridiculous that they're just spamming out 3x3s. I mean, what do you think about Gans starting to make other than 3x3 puzzles, so 2x2s?
So I'm pretty sure quite a lot of people have heard about it. I didn't hear about this until Louis told me. But there is speculation of Gans bringing out a 2x2. Now, given Gans' reputation and the fact that let's just disregard the money-making scheme thing they're doing and think about how good their cubes actually are, because you have to say their cubes are brilliant. So if they can incorporate what they've done with a 3x3 to a 2x2, I feel like it could literally knock all of the other 2x2s out the park. It could be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Well, you see, you could always fall into the trap of them then creating version 2s and version 3s of a 2x2 or whatever puzzles you decide to make. And then there's also the problem that there'll always be a different 2x2 that offers a different speed or a different kind of tension. They'll be out there contending for it.
I mean, there's always going to be, with Moyu and Gans, they're always going to be constantly trying to improve their previous puzzles because they want to stay relevant, which I think is fine personally. I quite like a bit of competition because that means we get better products. But if it means, what Gans are doing at the moment, I think they need to do something innovative. So, I think a 2x2 would really help them out. I think it would sell well. I think it'd be interesting for us cubers. And I think it would add a lot more variation, a lot more play to the actual market.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not even 2x2s, they could even release 4x4s or 5x5s, for example. And I'd also like to see other WCA puzzles such as the Pyraminx or maybe a Square 1. I think Gans has, stayed too long on just the 3x3s, and as you say, they have a ridiculous number of different versions now, so maybe they should start to steer away from that, and that includes other brands as well.
True. I think Moyu've cracked it on the head though with their variety of the cubes that they're releasing. They're 13x13. They're releasing a lot and they're staying very relevant. But I think Gans is sort of lagging behind. And what I'm assuming is that this whole thing of releasing just more 3x3s and more different tensions is just a way for them to try and stay relevant until they can add something new to the field.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame a company for wanting to keep people's interest. I mean, of course, the Gans Air was released 3 weeks ago, and perhaps they didn't sell as well as Gans had hoped for. Who really knows? But I guess it just seems a little bit too soon for them to release in more 3x3s, especially when they have such subtle differences from a product that they've just released.
I mean, I think it's quite amazing that they've been able to release only 13 3x3s. And have they actually made any other kind of cube apart from 3x3s?
Not that I know of. I mean, it's quite possible they have.
Because to make 13 3x3s and get extremely popular from only that many, I think it's about time to start to move into more cubes, as you said. And I also think that they're probably running out of ideas for 3x3s because I don't think they're really setting it up properly. They're pushing them out a bit too fast than what they can think of for new ideas for the cubes. So that's probably why we've heard a little bit about a Gans 2x2. Keep in mind that that's only speculation. There is no actual proof of the 2x2 coming out. It's just what people have actually said.
I mean, there's also the question of whether 3x3s can actually get much better than what we have on the market now. What do you guys think about that? Can you see speed cubes getting better than how they already are?
Yeah, like, we get these new cubes and we think, wow, this cube is amazing, this is perfect. And then we think, there's no way they can top this. And then they do. And that's why it's just like, well, we say now, okay, like, with cubes like the Gans Air and the Wayland GTS, they are absolutely amazing. They are, like, top of the board. But we're thinking, okay, they cannot possibly top this. And knowing, like, cubing companies, they probably will.
Like, I remember when I just started speed cubing. Me and Lewis started speed cubing around about the same time. The Xanshi was basically the only viable option. But over these past, how long has it been? 9 months, 10 months maybe? Over these last 9 or 10 months, there's been so many more 3x3s, and I remember people saying the Xanshi was perfect. But there is a thing now where people and cube companies are expected to have perfect corner cutting, that there isn't a single place that it won't corner cut. And that's, I don't think that's really fair, because a cube shouldn't be made relevant just based on its corner cutting and its speed. It should be rated on, its innovative design, its unique feel from others, because more and more cubes are starting to feel like clones of other cubes.
I mean, I guess we'll never know really until we do get the new cubes that will either top or just replicate other 3x3s on the market. But you make a very good point that the Xanshi was at one point the best 3x3 and nobody thought it could be beaten, but obviously that has been the case.
We've also got to say things like, people have different preferences for cubes. For example, like, the new Thunderclap V2 came out, I guess kind of recently. I think, how long has it been? Like,
it's been about a month or so.
About a month, yeah. And, like, I would say, like, a lot of people do not like the V2. They say it feels nothing like the V1. It's bad to put on the name of Thunderclap. It feels horrible. But when I tried it at ABHC, I actually quite liked the feel of it, and I liked how it turned as well. So obviously every cube has their own preference, so there can always be cubes brought out that will match people's preferences.
Yeah, exactly. And there'll always be kind of demand for new 3x3s. There'll always be a market for it. People will always buy the newest 3x3 on the market, and I think the companies know that when they release them.
Going back to the Thunderclap thing, I think I have an opinion about the Thunderclap V2, and I'm not sure if this is just me, but if you were to take the Thunderclap V2 and not say that it was a Thunderclap and hand it to somebody, no matter how long they've been speed cubing, and just tell them that it was a new 3x3, I think they would really enjoy it. And it's just because the Thunderclap is such a well-known and unique puzzle. It's brilliant. I think we can all agree. You can get so many different feels out of it. But if you were to take the Thunderclap version 2 and rename it to something and hand it to a speedcuber, I think he would really like it. But he hears the name Thunderclap and he thinks it needs to feel exactly like a Thunderclap with some slight differences. And in a way, that's kind of true. But I still think it's a good cube. It just shouldn't have been classed in that Thunderclap. In that Thunderclap branding.
Yeah, I agree. It should have been its own named 3x3, not a version 2 of something else.
There's actually something I want to talk about, and Chris, you're going to have some experience in this. If you haven't seen Chris's recent video, he actually does an unboxing of, I think it was the Volk 3 and the Moyu Magnetic Pyraminx. They were both in the same video, right?
Yep.
And obviously there's been a lot about the Moyu Magnetic Pyraminx, because apart from there's Moyu and I think there's X-Man now, who have both done Magnetic Pyraminxes. Do you think that, like, Magnetic Pyraminxes are going to be the next big thing for Pyraminx? Or do you think that, like, more advanced people will still stick? Because obviously I think it was Drew Brads who recently had the world record average with the Moyu Magnetic Pyraminx. So do you think that's where Pyraminxes are going now, to more magnetic and a fluid feel, or do you think they're going to stay with, like, quick and clicky?
Well, in my personal experience, having unboxed the Magnetic Pyraminx and, like, working on it a little bit, I definitely think it is a step up from the Moyu ball bearing Pyraminx, to say the least. It's much faster, it's a bit more controllable, and I guess it does still come down to preference. Some people might want the really stable clickiness of a ball bearing Pyraminx, but I think for where speed cubing's going, people are getting faster and faster, so they obviously need faster puzzles, and I think the magnetic pyraminxes definitely cater for that. But yeah, I guess it really does just depend on what kind of solver you are.
Like I said, a lot of people are saying that this magnetic pyraminx is like really fluid, but you may overturn because you don't get as much of a clickiness from ball bearings. So what I'm thinking of how it's going to go is that beginners are going to be using more ball bearing pyraminxes. Like I will probably still be using ball bearing for quite a while before then, as they get advanced, to moving to magnetic.
Well, I think it would be really interesting if MoU or X-Man did release different strength of magnets. So obviously you can kind of decide how clicky you want it, because the magnets in the pyraminx aren't particularly strong. It's just enough to kind of keep the layers aligned. But it'd be really interesting if you did get, for example, heavier magnets that will snap a little bit more when you make a turn.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about strength of magnets.
I mean, there's one thing, there's one big complaint, and I'm sure you've all heard it too. There is one massive complaint I've been hearing with the magnetic pyraminx, and that is the tips. I've heard it's really easy to +2 because the tips have no click in them. So, you know, I mean, it's a good try, but like Lewis was saying, if magnetic is where pyraminxes are heading, I think that there still needs to be some tweaks just to get that perfect pyraminx.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it is the first magnetic pyraminx to be produced, and obviously MoU has decided to not put ball bearings or magnets in the tips, which I think might have been a bit of a foolish move because they are pretty popular, but again, they might release a version 2 of it, obviously, because if people hear that they have ball bearings or whatever, they're probably more likely to buy it. So I think MoU, you know, they will sort it out in a future product, maybe. Alright then guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. This has been Haribo 41296, IDK Cuber and UK Cubing. If you have enjoyed, remember to leave a like, leave a comment below any suggestions for what you want to hear on these podcasts, and then of course subscribe to me, IDK Cuber and UK Cubing, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye guys.
Bye guys.